March 3rd, 2021, multiple media outlets reported that there was a death investigation on North Merritt Island, and that's all that was given. The very next day, it was reported that Matthew Nicol, 25, Merritt Island, was identified as a shooting fatality during an armed robbery attempt by guys dressed up as the DEA carrying assault weapons. Something did not make sense. On the SpaceCoastDaily.com, I checked down below at the comments section, and there were comments of Matthew's friends that just said how nice he was, how well loved he was, how much fun he was to be around, and how he traveled with his dog Mako, just making him an overall fun guy. But they were absolutely livid about his murder. And some of those comments now have been deleted because they were so bad, wanting vengeance for his murder. Unfortunately, it was revealed that Matthew was selling drugs, and that his easygoing nature probably made him an easy target for these guys. On May 6th, a little less than 2 months later, the first break in the case with the arrest of David Foreman-Taylor. In an unusual twist, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office was investigating a bait dog used for dog fighting. It was found underneath a covered driveway in North Merritt Island, and the dog ended up dying. So they went to arrest that person. That person knew about David Foreman-Taylor's involvement in the Matthew Nicol murder and got the ball rolling. The next break in the case came with the arrest of Brian Vogel, pictured here. He was arrested the next day after David Foreman-Taylor on May 7th, and he was already in jail for conspiracy to traffic cocaine when he was arrested on April 29th. So they pulled him out, charged him with the murder, the robbery, and animal cruelty, and then threw him back in jail with no bond possible. The third arrest was made the very same day as Vogel's. This is Chase Harrison, and he was also in the same boat as Vogel because guess what? He was Brian Vogel's big-time cocaine dealer. So he was charged with conspiracy to traffic cocaine. So they did the same thing as with him. They pulled him out, charged him with the first-degree murder, robbery, and animal cruelty, and threw him back in jail. And guess what? No bond for him either. I went to the clerk of the court's website and I looked up David Foreman-Taylor to see what he was charged with. And I was mystified to see that he wasn't charged with anything. Man, my blood boiled. You go to a house, you murder somebody, you should be charged. And I made another video, and it wasn't fair to the sheriff. But anyway, the not being charged, that was just temporary. Next, I looked up Brian Vogel, and sure enough, there's the murder charge, the burglary, and the cruelty to animal. And he had been charged. Thank you, Sheriff. So I had one guy being charged, one not. So I looked up Chase Harrison. Sure enough, this was the cocaine kingpin guy. So there's his conspiracy charges, the murder, the burglary, and the cruelty to animal charges. The next arrest came on May 25th with the arrest of Cory Cabaniss. The U.S. Marshal Services picked him up in Franklin County, Tennessee. He was extradited and he was brought back to Florida and now sits in a Brevard County jail cell with no bond. One of the excerpts from the affidavit for arrest warrant for one of the other guys said that his rifle accidentally went off and shot and killed Matthew. Does it matter? It's a first-degree murder charge since this was pre-planned. And this defense attorney's website says first-degree murder is a capital offense and has only two possible sentences, life or death. The next picture is of the clerk of the court's website showing down at the bottom saying that this is first-degree felony murder and circled showing that this is a capital murder. The fifth arrest was made in Bainbridge, Georgia on June 2nd. This is Anthony Davila from Cocoa or Cape Canaveral, not sure which. But anyway, his family had talked him into turning himself in. He also waived his rights for extradition. The Brevard County Sheriff Office went up there and grabbed him, and so now he's on a no bond status back to Brevard. He is a convicted felon, and he will be lucky if all he gets is life. You look right there, this is a capital murder crime. Here's how the charges have changed. This is David Foreman-Taylor showing that he's been charged with first-degree murder, armed burglary, and cruelty to animals. Here's Brian Vogel's as well. You can see circled, it's capital murder. And as well with Chase Harrison as well. He's been charged, and these are capital offenses now. This is a picture of the 5 alleged scumbags that went to Hall Road to rob Matthew Nicol of his drugs and drug proceeds. Well, not only did they rob him, but they first shot and killed his faithful dog, Mako, and then they murdered Matthew. They made this decision and they planned it. This was a premeditated event, and that falls under the category of a capital offense. But just because it's premeditated doesn't make it a capital offense. There's multiple reasons. I'm back to this website to show you the guidelines for these murder charges, what these guys are facing. And so this attorney says first-degree murder is a capital offense, has 2 possible sentences, life or death. First-degree murder in Florida is committed when a person commits either premeditated murder or felony murder. So that's the first-degree murder. So below here it says what premeditated murder, and pretty much it's when one person kills another person after pursuant to a pre-planned act or scheme. Felony murder is committed when a person kills another human being while in the commission of a felony, regardless whether they intended to kill him or not. And so if we scroll down below, we can see what we can get and what a prosecutor would use for this. Well, there's burglary. Did they try to burglarize this? Well, yeah, they broke in. Distribution of controlled substances. Well, yeah, they stole Matthew Nicol's drugs and drug proceeds. There was also a home invasion robbery, too. Also, there was the murder of another human being. Duh, of course. And then robbery. And they're trafficking in controlled substances. So they really checked off a lot of boxes for themselves and made the prosecutor's job pretty easy in terms of finding out what they could charge him with. And of course, down below it says the penalties for first-degree murder is death or life without the possibility of parole. These 5 guys have now been charged with first-degree murder, armed burglary with the use of a firearm, and cruelty to animals. I don't think these guys intended to murder anybody. They intended to rob somebody. But the state of Florida doesn't care what they intended to do. They care about what they did do. So the facts of the matter is that they went to this house to rob it. They shot and killed the dog Mako. They did murder Matthew. And they did steal the money and drugs from the house. These guys planned this. They practiced for it. I'll show you that in another video, as well as who I think was the mastermind or masterminds behind it. Regardless, these guys deserve what they get. They made their bed and they can sleep in it. And I hope their pathetic lives are as painful till the last day on earth that they have. The hell with them. Lost in the story is anything about the victim, and that was Matthew Nicol and his dog Mako. Online, his friends said that he was well-loved, funny, charismatic, fun to be around, not a single bad bone in his body. And those same people were talking about the 5 people that had murdered him. They said they were scumbags, dirtbags, just the lowest form of scum on earth. And they were just completely outraged at those 5 people. I wouldn't be surprised if more charges are coming for those guys, but my heart goes out to the family and friends of Matthew Nicol.